What is going on, everyone? This is JABO, your pit stop quick one-stop shop for all things NASCAR and other sports that are just a bit outside. I'm your host, Brendan Bryan. The NASCAR season kicks off in Daytona in only a handful of days, not even that, just hours away. So today we are going to take a look at all three of NASCAR's top series and look at the contenders, dark horses, and make winner predictions for all three series that are, of course, as I always promise, 100 and this time 10% accurate. So sit back and enjoy this preview of NASCAR's biggest weekend, the Daytona 500. Let's get started. Starting off with the Truck Series, it is often the most chaotic of the three series because, you got your young people, your old people, your crazy people, maybe Norm Benning. It will be entertaining to say the least. However, there are a few notable contenders for this race, starting off with Michael McDowell and Justin Haley, who are both coming down from the Cup Series. Obviously, this is a one-off. They're not going down there full time. Both of these drivers are known for their super speedway prowess, with McDowell being the winner of the 2021 Daytona 500, and Haley, with 5 of his 8 wins in NASCAR's top 3 series, coming solely at super speedways. But what about from the regulars in the Truck Series? Who stands out? And, well, this is an easy one to say because it's my boy from Alabama, Grant Enfinger, driving for CR7 Racing, has always been a contender at super speedways. He has 3 wins there, including winning this exact race in 2020 and being the most recent winner at super speedways, winning the Fall Talladega race in 2024. With our contenders noted, who are the dark horses for this event? Let's first look at Parker Kligerman, who is running the race as part of a part-time schedule for Henderson Motorsports. Kligerman is just kind of there in these type of races, with 2 wins at Talladega in the Truck Series, with his 2017 win being a race I attended myself in person. Also keep an eye out for ThorSport regular Ben Rhodes, who has a win at this race back in 2021. With this being an odd year, Rhodes comes to life, and though is often hit or miss at these racetracks, he can be an easy threat late at Daytona. Finally, this is a dark horse pick in the best of terms, but keep an eye out for Freedom Racing Enterprise and their driver Spencer Boyd, who are the ultimate underdogs in this race. Boyd does have a win at a super speedway and finished 5th here a year ago. I'm just saying, what is more American than freedom? With that brief overview out of the way, who do I have winning this darn thing? And to be honest, it could be anybody, but I'm going with a very safe pick here and taking Michael McDowell to win it for Spire. That organization has a lot of beef entered in for this race, and it would be hard to lose it. It also wouldn't shock me if the whole team wrecked, so that's Daytona for you. Now let's take a look at the Xfinity Series. Starting off with the notable contenders, if you've been watching this series in any capacity, you know that hands down, the favorite is Austin Hill from Richard Childress Racing. He has won this exact race 3 years in a row now. There's really not much else to say about Hill. He is a dog at these kind of racetracks and will be a contender all night long. Another driver that will be in the thick of it all race long is Mr. Runner-Up himself, Sheldon Creed for Haas Factory Team. He has 3 runner-ups at super speedways, including a runner-up at this race in 2024. He is always fast, but can he finally win something for freaking sakes, or is he going to second it up again? For our final contender to look out for is defending series champion Justin Allgaier. Now, he only has 1 super speedway win coming at the Summer Daytona race in 2023, but he and Junior Motorsports equipment will definitely be in contention as it usually is at these type of racetracks. Allgaier's been close before, but will he finally break through in this race? Now looking at our dark horses, first we have Matt DiBenedetto driving for Viking Motorsports. Matt's only win comes at Talladega in the Truck Series, but he's always been a contender at super speedways regardless what series he is racing. Another super speedway threat is Jeb Burton for Jordan Anderson Racing, whose 2 career wins come at super speedways. He might not always be up front at Daytona, but he will definitely be in the wings if something happens. Finally, the last dark horse driver that you should look out for is Brennan Poole for Alpha Prime Racing, which seems crazy when you think about it. This team has traditionally been a backmarker, but they have improved over the last couple years. Poole seems to be better at Talladega rather than Daytona, but this team isn't one to sleep on since at Daytona, anything is possible. After that overview, who do I have winning this race? Well, how about none of the drivers I mentioned? I have the ultimate underdog, Ryan Sieg, winning at Daytona for his family-run team and finally getting that monkey off his back and not only winning the race, but making the playoffs. Finally, we take a look at the most prestigious race in NASCAR, the Daytona 500, which in recent years has been won by underdogs until 2024 when William Byron won the race. But who will win the Great American Race this year? Let's take a look. First off, we actually have to answer the question, who's making the race this year? If you don't know, a maximum of 40, well, technically 41 cars, but I'll address that momentarily, can qualify for the race. The first 36 spots are taken up by charter drivers who are guaranteed a spot in every race, while the remaining 4 spots are made up by the 2 fastest qualifying drivers without a charter, and then the Daytona duels will determine the last 2 spots as the highest finishing open car in those races will make the field for the 500. However, the technical 41st spot can be attained through a new rule where a highly touted driver from international series or something of that nature can use a provisional to enter a race if they do not qualify it on speed, but they do have to ask for this provisional from NASCAR 90 days before the race they intend to run, and somebody did, cheeky. We'll go over that in just a moment. So, who are the cars racing for a coveted spot in the Daytona 500? Well, we have a total of 9 cars vying for 5-ish spots. I say 5 because, as I just mentioned, someone's using that cheeky provisional, and that is IndyCar legend Helio Castroneves with Trackhouse Racing. And if he doesn't qualify in on speed, like we said, he will still be in the Daytona 500 as the 41st car. I just can't wait. I mean, he's just awesome. And imagine if he wins the freaking Daytona 500. He's going to thank everybody at that racetrack. We also have Corey LaJoie driving for Rick Ware Racing in the 01 car, the 44 of J.J. Yaley for NY Racing, the 66 of Anthony Alfredo for Beard Motorsports, the 78 of B.J. McLeod for Live Fast Motorsports, the 62 of Anthony Alfredo for Beard Motorsports, the 66 of not Mike Wallace because duh, but instead Chandler Smith for MBM Motorsports, 7-time Cup Series champion Jimmy Johnson driving the 84 for his team, Legacy Motor Club. Then we have 2 teams attempting their first ever races, with Junior Motorsports making their long-awaited Cup debut and will be attempting to make the race with defending Xfinity Series champion Justin Allgaier, who will be driving the 40 car. And finally, Tricon Garage from the Truck Series will attempt to make the Daytona 500 with 2017 Cup Series champion Mark Truex Jr. in the 56 car sponsored by Bass Pro Shops, receiving technical support from Joe Gibbs Racing, and with all-time great crew chief Cole Pearn on top of the box. Whew, that's going to be a good car. There are a lot of good cars amongst these open entries, so who makes it into the Daytona 500 on qualifying? I think Martin Truex Jr. is an easy lot due to the car having support from Joe Gibbs Racing, and come on, Truex is good enough to qualify the car. Then I have Justin Allgaier qualifying into the 500. I don't think Junior is going to give Allgaier a car without speed. I mean, Junior's one of the best to ever do it at these type of racetracks. So who races their way in through the duels? Well, first, I have Anthony Alfredo making the show because Beard Motorsports brings fast cars to these type of races usually. Then, the other spot, the final spot, will go to, and this is a bold pick, B.J. McLeod for Live Fast Motorsports. And honestly, my evidence for this is just a feeling. They have shown speed at super speedways, but only for a short period of time. So as long as the engine lasts on this car, it should be enough to make the Daytona 500 field. So that means I also have Helio Castroneves not qualifying on speed or through the duels, but through his provisional to be the 41st car in the Daytona 500, which also means, sadly, Chandler Smith, J.J. Yaley, Corey LaJoie, and 7-time Cup champion Jimmy Johnson are going to miss the field for the Daytona 500. Those are just my predictions, so it could be totally wrong. With all that said, who's going to win the pole for the Daytona 500? It's always been a source of achievement amongst Cup drivers for who can win the pole at this racetrack. It would be easy to say a car from Hendrick Motorsports since they've won 8 of the last 10 poles of the Daytona 500, but I say...
Bush Flimshaw!
I have an upset pole winner with Todd Gilliland winning the pole 18 years after his father, David Gilliland, upsetted the field and accomplished the same feat. So now, looking at contenders for the Daytona 500, there are just so many. The NASCAR Cup Series field is absolutely stacked. So, off the bat, I'm just going to say all of Penske and Hendrick Motorsports. All 7 of those drivers, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, and Kyle Larson, have either won the race or come up just short. They are going to be fast and in contention all day long. Also, I'm just going to throw this name in as well, but the 6th of Brad Keselowski is due for a Daytona 500 win and has been excruciatingly close in years prior. Bad Brad has always been bad fast at superspeedways and will at least be out front for a portion of this race before he crashes or chokes, as per the script. You've watched the 500 before. Taking a look at some dark horse picks for the Daytona 500, I firstly have Kyle Busch, who, like Keselowski, is due to win this race. He has been close in years past and very close with Richard Childress Racing, who always brings speed to Daytona. Could Busch finally break through if the circumstances permit? Next, I have a pretty obvious dark horse, but that's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He is the 2023 winner of this race, and all 4 of his career wins in the Cup Series have come at superspeedways. He will be a threat for the 500, and if not a threat, he'll be a threat to everyone else on the track because he is either going to win this race or wreck the field trying. There are just so many dark horses for the Daytona 500 that we can discuss, from 2021 winner Michael McDowell to the Watermelon Man Ross Chastain. However, keep your eye out for Martin Truex Jr. I know he's never won on a superspeedway, but he came up inches short from winning this race in 2016. And honestly, with nothing left to lose, he could just go all out in his JGR field equipment and make a run to a storybook end to his career. With all that information processed, you might ask yourself, why haven't you talked about 3-time Daytona 500 champion Denny Hamlin as a contender? Well, that's simple. Since the next gen car in 2022, Hamlin has only 4 top 10s at superspeedways, none of which come at Daytona. His best finish at Daytona since 2022 is a 17th place finish in the 2023 Daytona 500. He also has a new crew chief, Chris Gale, in the box, who hasn't really done anything in the Cup Series. At Daytona, anyone can win, and so can Hamlin, but his numbers with the current race car are just not there for a potential 4th Daytona 500. With all that out of the way, who do I have winning the Daytona 500? Well, I have someone winning who has been close in the past, and if he can just make it to the white flag, he will be hard to beat because I have Ryan Blaney winning the 2025 Daytona 500. But hold on, I have another bold prediction, and that is Blaney will actually be the benefactor of luck, because I think 2 drivers ahead of Blaney will wreck each other attempting to win the race on the final lap. And reminiscent to 1979?
And there's a fight. The tempers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have lost. And what a bitter defeat.
Yeah, it's only a feeling, but I think this is going to be a wild Daytona weekend. There you have it, a preview of NASCAR's opening weekend at Daytona. With all that previewing out of the way, here's when Daytona is happening. On Wednesday, we're going to have qualifying for the Cup Series. Thursday are the dual races. Friday is the truck race. Saturday is the Xfinity race. And Sunday is the Great American Race, Daytona 500. Do not miss it. Now go and gather your friends and family together to celebrate and enjoy the beginning of a new and glorious NASCAR season. I hope you all enjoyed this installment of JABO and your preview of the NASCAR opening weekend at Daytona. And until next time, I've been your host, Brendan Bryan. Have a good one.